Ouch, here we go. Don't know what the shit we're doing, but we're just going, son.
There are times, Mike, when I wish I didn't have a job. I wish human beings didn't need jobs. We could literally just sit around and like eat some kind of paste that we could sustain ourselves on and shower every now and then and just play MMOs forever. MMOs are great. I love MMOs, and I don't have time to play them. I don't even have time to play enough Final Fantasy XIV. I think I'm like a level 44, 43 paladin. But really fun game. Played 11 a lot, and that's all I'm probably going to talk about this. But you new stuff coming to 14, and you played a little bit of it yesterday. What's coming?
So the new patch 2.3 is called Defenders of Eorzea, and for those who don't know, Eorzea is the name of the world. Just like if you played 11, Vana'diel was the name of the world. So I played 11 for on and off for about 2 years. But when I say play it, like I wasn't playing it like I'll be honest, I wasn't playing it correctly. I was just going in there, having fun, doing a few things, but I wasn't really trying to make a lot of progress in the game. I just was like, this is a cool open world. Like, I've not seen this before. Oh, there's lots of people playing. It was more for the experience. Then, I mean, I played WoW for a few months. I kind of got what it was all about. It didn't hit the level cap, so I didn't do any of the end game content. So I didn't get to experience any of that, but I was just like, I get WoW. Like, I get it. I get, like, people of the PvP. But, man, this is, like, a lot of time to put into these games, and you really can't play anything else if this is what you play. And then 14 came out originally, and, like, the game was, like, trash. I remember, like, former staff Miguel Lopez is like, oh, man, this game looks cool because it's different. And I thought it looked cool. I was like, oh, yeah, like, it looks like they're trying to do something different.
And specifically saying it did look cool, it was gorgeous. Like, compared to other MMOs, like, it did have a really good aesthetic. I've always liked the way the Final Fantasy MMO games do armor. I think it looks really good. Like, Warcraft now, it's just kind of like a paint job on a pixel set. But, like, their games, like, handle plate and cloaks and stuff like that. It always looks really great. But a buggy-ass game.
Yeah, among a lot of things wrong with it. But then A Realm Reborn came out. I remember, like, I was hesitant on even trying the beta, and I just tried it on a whim, and I was like, this is pretty good. You know, all right, they fix shit. You know, I'll buy into this. So now here we are. Like, it came out September last year, August last year, and it's like we're coming up on like a year now, and I'm still playing that game. And as I said, new patch came out. They've been pretty good about putting out a new patch every roughly 3 months.
And it's all free.
And it's all, these are all free. So you do have to pay to subscribe, but the patch content is free. And with each new patch comes a lot of new content. WoW had expansions, but I never really paid attention to the content updates because it wasn't far enough. So expansions were huge, but these aren't expansions. They're going to have an expansion later on, which I can't fathom what's going to be in that. It's going to be insane. But I wasn't really attuned into how other MMOs did patch updates like that, and if they were as significant as this, because each one adds like new boss battles, like in-game boss battles, new dungeons, whole slew of new quests, they do a lot of, they call them quality of life updates that improve things. And in this new one, the big things are they added a new boss battle, so it's Rama or Ramu or however you want to pronounce it. Right. The lightning dude with the epic beard, and they have that battle in there. So it's the newest one for people to try out. It's the latest in the line of the primal battles.
And I've played enough of 14 to know that this isn't just coming up out of nowhere. Like the primals, is that what they're called?
Yes.
Like those come up a ton. Like almost every new area you go to in the game is because you're following some primal, or because you're following the way that different people are affected by that. You know. So do you think that's the way these patches are going to be moving forward?
Yes.
They're all going to be centered around, because the last one was Leviathan, right?
Yes. They are grounded in like stuff that's already in the game. There's a lot of hints that allude to this type of stuff. The newest one, it's in the place called the Sylphlands. So these primal battles are these giant crystals that at some point in the story you go and you attune to them, and then you unlock the battles for them. But they had these other ones that you could see and like, wait, what are these? Like, I'm not doing anything with those yet. And now you're going back to those because they were in the game. Like, you saw them. They weren't just added in afterwards. And there was like hints that, oh, there might be more. So there's this one, and the next one is going to be Shiva, apparently, and that's going to be probably the last one, I believe, of the primal type battles. So they start off with the Ifrit, Garuda, which is this bird lady, and then Titan, which is the pain in the ass for everyone. And then the last patch added Mog King, which is not they count it as a primal, I guess, now, but even though I didn't think it really was. Actually, it's not a primal, I don't think. Leviathan is, though. Leviathan is a primal battle. And then now we have Rama. And that's so new boss battle drops high level gear. So it's another way for players who, right now, there's something called Binding Coil Bahamut, which requires like 8 people to kind of meet routinely. It's a raid. It's a static raid group. Is pretty much the only way you're going to make progression in that. You get high level drops from that. You farm a lot of stuff, and you trade in stuff for higher level gear, which is just kind of boring to do it that way. But some people do it that way. And then they've added other stuff now, like some of the other ways to get stuff. They're adding in new ways to do that. But you basically have 2 to 3 options to get that. But the biggest thing they probably added in this one is a new PvP.
And that, so you streamed that last night, and I heard you through the wall because I'm right next to the stream room. That you were. How did that go?
So I actually like the new PvP. So the original PvP they introduced was just a 4v4 in a tiny arena, and I did not like it at all. I played 5 matches. Like, you know what? I hate this. This is just terrible. Like, I don't like this. I think this is just like shoehorned in. I don't think they really thought this out. Some people thought it was okay, but it died off. You could tell like 2-3 months ago, if you tried to queue up for it, the queues were like over an hour long.
Wow.
Like, people had to organize giant get-togethers to even do PvP anymore because no one was doing it.
Yeah, that's a sign.
Now so that was 4v4. This new one called Frontline is a 72-person PvP battle.
Which we've seen in Final Fantasy XI and Final Fantasy XIV cutscenes repeatedly. You know, these big, battles that all the story elements are surrounding. Yeah.
So finally you get something like that, and it's 3 teams of 24, and it's basically you go occupy 3 posts, and then you try and take over the other opponent's post as well. And there's like kind of a score thing going on at the end, like depending on how many people you've killed and how many territories you occupy, stuff like that. It's still a little weird to figure out. People are still trying to like figure out how exactly the scoring works right now, but it's a giant area. A lot of people are comparing it to Arathi Basin and AV in WoW. Like, it's a little like, if you know what those are, then you know what this is. Yeah. And it's just it's so, the scale is so big, and there were so many people that I think more people will have a chance to enjoy that. Yeah. And so many people are going in that are new right now that you're not getting blown up. Like, when you went into the old PvP, if you went after a month, people were like decked out because there is specific PvP gear and skills in 14. If you don't have those, you're going to get rolled by people who have that type of stuff, let alone a good strategy and team formula.
The most into any MMO I've ever been was Warcraft when Wrath of the Lich King came out. And in Northrend, they had a place called Wintergrasp. It was great because you didn't like load into it. You could actually just fly into the environments. When there was a battle going on, you could just fly in and jump in. And it was always happening in real time. So it wasn't like queuing up for an environment. It was like, the battle that everybody was having. And that never got old. That was so, just because you were saying, like a big map, everybody's all doing different objectives. You can see where everybody is. You can team up. Like when you're one guy and you're like 15 guys come running at you, there's nothing you can do. It's over.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. Like, I'm not a PvP person. The last thing, I mean, there's a lot of stuff they added, but the last big thing, other than like new dungeons, is they added the second phase of something called Crystal Tower. It's called, I think it's pronounced Circus Tower, which is kind of funny because Crystal Tower raids are usually amusing because they can go horribly wrong. It's 3 teams of 8, but you're working together, and it's a series of encounters, either a bunch of mobs or bosses, and requires everyone to work in unison and do certain things, like step on certain platforms at the right time. And it's just funny to watch people like screw up and wipe. But the new one is actually I think it's better executed than the previous one. The previous one was a little bit, felt more generic, and just felt like a bunch of like bad monsters thrown together, and then a few okay boss battles. The mechanics, like the second boss, I believe, that you encounter, you have to like trigger these platforms, and you start doing a platforming section where you have to keep platforming ahead of these AoEs that are going to keep hitting each platform. And while there's these like little, they're called spinner rooks. They're these ads that look like totem poles, and you got to take them down. But you can't stay there and like DPS them down. You got to keep moving. So as a team, you're moving in conjunction, hopping over all these platforms while hitting them in the air. And something like just think back to like Marco Rosato used to yell at me like, you can't jump and turn and hit something in like WoW or in 14, but you can do that in WoW. I'm like, well, here you go. Like, now you can do something like that. I'm sure he'll say you did that in WoW first, but stuff like that. It's kind of like fun. So that just three. Those are probably the three biggest things, but so much stuff added into this one.
So yeah, like you're saying, they haven't even had a first official expansion yet, and so
yeah,
they I've loved the time that I've spent with the game. I think they do a good job of giving people lots of different options of fun things to do, and you can just jump right into it. I love it. The primal battles, you just go into the battle. You know, if you're gonna go fight a primal, it's not like a huge hour-long dungeon you got to wade through to get to them. You know, you can just like go straight to the fight. And I think that's really smart, especially for people that need to do it for a story reason or something that like makes it easier to get people involved. I foresee us having more editorial reports about Final Fantasy XIV in the future, Mike. I know we could sit and talk about it for 20 hours right now, but I gotta wrap it up. Anything else that needs to be said right now?
Just the Rama battle music. If you haven't listened to that, if you wanted like a taste of like how much quality to put in the game, go listen to that song. It's like
I was like, I liked what's the rock guy? His was like heavy metal. I like when I fought him.
Oh, like Titan has heavy metal,
like hardcore death metal. Not something you expect in that kind of game, but yeah, more coming to 14. Thanks for chatting about it.
No problem.
Okay, 1%. Down.
There we go.
There we go.